Will Ferrell and his best friend, Harper Steele, who is a trans woman, did a documentary, sort of road trip documentary. Harper Steele somewhat recently transitioned over the past couple of years. I had met her, I think, on one occasion years ago, before she had transitioned. A comedy writer, executive producer type. And apparently now this is a real problem on the right because, Will Ferrell.
Pretty popular.
Yep.
Pretty popular in many movies.
Yep. And here is the Ben Shapiro, like this is,
It's not his sister.
No, it's not his sister. It's the clone.
She looks more like his sister than his actual sister.
What they did is they cloned Ben Shapiro, but were able to create a different gender. Here we go.
Of the trailer.
Hi there. I'm Will Ferrell, one of the greatest actors in the world. A long time ago, back when I was at Saturday Night Live, I met a guy who was hired as a writer the same week I was hired. He wrote a bunch of sketches for me and eventually became the head writer of SNL. And over the years, he became one of my closest friends. And then one day, I got this email. Hey, Will, something I need you to know. I'll be transitioning to live as a woman.
I don't doubt that Will is my friend.
Again, the fact that this is a drama, that this is serious, is the most insane part of this. Like, this should be a comedy. The right thing to do would be to frame this as a comedic documentary style movie. And yet it's 2024, so no, we can't do this. This is the most serious piece of filmmaking that has come out of 2024.
But I'm not Andrew Steele anymore.
It was just, whoa.
I love this country so much, I just don't know if it loves me back right now.
Harper, would you want to do a road trip as this new version of yourself and at the same time figure out what this all means to us?
Drama.
Were you a little worried about how to talk to me when I came out to you?
Yeah, probably a little nervous.
There are no ground rules with friends, I'm telling you. I invite any friend of mine to ask me these questions. I am not afraid to talk about them.
There's a question. Do you think you're a worse driver as a female driver?
That's the dumbest.
Whoops.
That's so, no, that is so, oh, you.
Zing!
But I am. Yeah.
Oh.
Laugh out loud funny.
So the first complaint that this is supposed to be all serious and it's not comedic, there's some comedy for you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, she's pissed about that. Like, guys, why are you playing the whole trailer?
This does just look like marketing. I didn't know about this before Brett Cooper covered
I'm honestly going to watch it. It seems really sweet.
No, it's interesting too,
So
right? I mean,
lovely.
for a lot of people, I mean, I've
That
never
email.
experienced with, someone that close to me transitioning. I would imagine it is both. There's a tremendous amount of anxiety, I would imagine, maybe not, on behalf of the person transitioning. How will I be accepted? And then I imagine it goes both ways in terms of, like, some people are like freaked out by it and other people are like, this is going to be weird for me. But, you're my friend and, some weird other things can happen and other people are probably like, okay.
And modeling that is the perfect sort of thing for a documentary to do. I had a friend who, we invited a bunch of our group out for drinks like a year or so ago and came out as they, them. And it's like, that email put me in the mind of like the anxiety that my friend must have felt arranging that.
Yeah.
And then to like send that email like, hey, Will, like, I don't know, like that's the sort of thing that people need to see. And even though, as Brett Cooper says, like most people are just roll with the punches, that's the point. Like we need to see how people roll with the punches as opposed to how Matt Walsh models this, which is that it should be some kind of like witch hunt.
And Will Ferrell, I mean, this is the problem that they have, that Ben Shapiro's had this whole time with his desire to be a screenwriter, is like, I can't think of a more universally beloved like comedic actor in the country. And Will knows that. So he's lending his credibility and his widespread like cultural capital to bolstering like a pro-trans narrative, but also just showing what a healthy response is to someone close to you saying that they're making a transition. It's a great thing that he's doing.
And also, is there any room for a comedy about this after Lady Ballers just basically sucked all the oxygen? Like anything's going to seem like a pale comparison to Lady Ballers, which took the country by storm. You know how much money that made at the box office? No, you don't. And the reason why you don't know is because if it had done even marginally well, it would have been the only thing you heard for months about how, like, she would not be talking about the words movie would not come out of anyone's mouth at the Daily Wire if Lady Ballers had done millions of dollars at the box office. That's all they would have talked about. Good.
Zing! But I am. Woo! Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is my friend Harper.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you, bro.
Hey, not a bro, though. It's a she, but that's okay.
Sorry.
Normal.
Remember that. That's going to be important.
This is probably around the age where I started to feel just kind of weird. Yeah.
I used to come out to these kind of places before, and then I transitioned and I got a little afraid. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Come out.
And we just need to pause right there because right there in that moment, without even having to watch the movie, we have stumbled upon the problem with this film and the problem with its premise. Now, obviously, if you guys want to watch the entire thing, it is on Netflix. If you want to watch the entire trailer, you can find that on YouTube. But basically what you need to know, you saw in this trailer, because as they travel through middle America, as you can see in the trailer, the people don't care. Like, I guarantee they care more about their internet privacy than they do about your pronouns. Now, you really should be caring.
Wait, wow, what? Wait, what?
Why don't you do that with ExpressVPN?
That's an amazing transition. Talk about transitions, am I right? Oh my God, that was amazing. That was amazing. And it's so seamless too, because they're doing these like weird, completely unmotivated jump cuts. And and people don't care, but people care about their Sunset Lake Sabbath, don't they? Go ahead, do it. Just go. Cut through the ad. But I am curious how they go to the next, how she exits the ad.
But also she points to that footage that she says is going to be important later. That's just how a normal person, like if you're...
Well, that's what you think, but go ahead.
Yeah.
That is expressvpn.com/Cooper to redeem that deal. I mean, guys, we already saw that 2 minutes into the trailer. Like when that one guy mistakenly called him bro, he quickly apologized. He did not react further. And then at a very Americana, very redneck racetrack, another man simply tells Steele to not be afraid and to come out and watch if he likes it. And then just watch this last clip.
I'm not really afraid of these people. I'm afraid of hating myself.
There you go. I mean, that was probably the most important moment of the entire trailer. I mean, Steele says the key line, I'm not really afraid of these people. I'm afraid of hating myself. And that goes against literally everything that we've been told, everything that the media has been screaming at us for years. I mean, it's almost like gender dysphoria is in the American Psychiatric DSM.
Oh my God. All right. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Just pause it for a sec. No, it's almost like she decided to make a choice that made most sense for her. And by the way, she misgenders Harper the entire segment there. But she made a choice that made sense for her. And it's freaks like you, not regular people at the bar that you're talking about or at the racetrack, who are politely corrected and then change and go, oh, I'm sorry, your pronouns are she, her. That's a normal human interaction.
And a not Daily Wire viewer interaction.
Exactly. And that's the myth busting that's at play here. No, that is, she's afraid of people like you creating a culture that says that trans people should be dehumanized, as opposed to regular interactions with normal people who, for the most part, just want to have a pleasant interaction and don't want to be so mean and callous to somebody that they just met.
I do like her ability to both like not even watch the entire trailer, but to still make the full-on assessment. She knows what the context in which Steele says those words. It's fascinating.
And like, yeah, it's probably a little bit easier.
What could make a trans person hate themselves after transitioning? Could it be that they are treated in such a way that begins to implicate their sense of self?
Right. Like, yeah, that you can go to a bar, and even in middle America, as this actor from Bellingham, Washington says it, and people will be polite to you. Yeah, that's something I've always been said. It's a little bit different if you're not, say, Will Ferrell's friend who's been in Hollywood for a long time, and maybe you're a kid, and you come out, and all of a sudden that parent as a Daily Wire viewer and isn't so conditioned to be so accepting of such things.
You know what else? There's a camera.
That's also.
That's how they shoot the documentary. So it is not a typical scenario.
Yes, and there's violence that's inflicted upon trans people too that she just completely discounts. But
let's just watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
It is a personal issue. And almost like this terrible transphobia and the threats of trans people just being killed aren't actually real. As Stephen L. Miller pointed out on X, he said, what's so interesting about
Oh, is she quoting who now?
This is not that Stephen Miller. It's the other big time creep Stephen
So
Miller. She's
denying that trans people are killed.
Yeah. I mean,
we have multiple trans people killed a month in this country. The idea that trans kids are not bullied, that trans adults are not bullied. I mean, this is just, they've made an entire industry out of it, out of Daily Wire.
I mean, between 2017 and 2021, the number of trans people murdered doubled.
Their mental health days, if you look at like just days of the month on average that you lose to, say, negative mental health, it's like a week on average more than a non-trans person.
It is perfectly legal in the vast majority of states to fire a person because they're trans, to refuse to rent to them because they're trans. She's probably at this network with money that they have generated from literally anti-trans programming. Go ahead.
this is that Ferrell's own film proves that people aren't threatened by trans people. His own film literally shows him taking his trans friend to country hick bars and dirt car hick races filled with Trump voters, and none of them care. There's even a scene where he, she, they says that they're scared to come out to places like this, and then it turns out that they all basically just say, hey, do what you want to do. It's the Borat syndrome. Borat went into a Christian conservative's home in a bag to try to outrage them, and they were still polite and caring to him. The Netflix film about Ferrell's trans friend proves the exact opposite point of the trans genocide bigotry that they try to push. That was the takeaway from it. Could not have said it better myself. Now, even though that is what is obviously discovered in this film, that just is not the politically appropriate way to talk about it. You have to continue to talk about the transphobia, say that it's a huge issue, as well as continue to do throughout the film's press junket.
I'm sorry.
And earlier this week,
just a second ago, you were using the wrong pronouns. Just 30 seconds ago, you were using the wrong pronouns.
He, she, they. Who can tell? Even though she has said it's she.
The point is that you freaks are trying to change the culture around this.
You made a movie about it a few months ago.
Yeah. Okay. So most people in those interactions are going to go, I'm not going to be a dick and deliberately say to Harper Steele, who says my pronouns are she, her, he, over and over again. You do so when you're brave behind your, 3 different cameras with an editor who's going to do a jump cut over and over again. You may do so and then incite that kind of hatred in your followers. But Yes, there's an appetite for acceptance. You're doing everything you can at the Daily Wire to completely undercut that. It's just, what point are you even making?
Doesn't prove the point against us. It proves that we are right and winning on this issue.
Like, this documentary proves that transphobia isn't real. So here I'm going to tell you why trans people aren't a real thing by misgendering this person. I mean,
and this has always been the case on this issue, that like anyone growing up, I remember like as a young kid, you hear about like intersex people. The language was different, but it was also just like, who cares? None of your business. Like what is going on with their genitals, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. And the Republicans are running on this, by the way, again, after it was a failed strategy in 2022. I hope it works out. I mean, I hope it doesn't work out for them, but it's just amazing to me that they think this is a winning issue. And she made the point right there that it's not.
Who cares?
All right, couple IMs, then we'll get out of here. BRB Forever. There's a great video called Why Transgender Women Belong in Women's Sports on a YouTube channel called Squid Tips, which is mostly a motorcycling channel. The host interviews a transgender pickleball player, and she talks about the whole process of transitioning as an adult with pictures from childhood through the whole process. The channel's most popular video, How I Went from Transphobe to Trans Ally, it's called. That sounds pretty good. A majority enthusiast. I recently caught an episode of All in the Family where a trans person who was a friend of their family was killed. The whole episode hinged on that event, and that was back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Norman Mailer was a very progressive guy.
Yep.
You see this in the context of All in the Family, the Jeffersons, what was the Dynamite one? Good Times. There was a couple other shows. Space Case. Femme Shapiro missed her chance to play the soundbite of Will's friends being afraid of hating herself, then going right into a BetterHelp ad. Tic-tac-toe. You don't need to be a trans person to have moments of doubt. That's a human thing. Charlie Sheriff. FYI, there's a scene in that documentary where they get booed at a Texas restaurant for her being trans, apparently. Cat. So is Brett saying that everyone should do what those two people did and accept people when they correct others on their pronouns?
Exactly.
Or should we do what has been preached by the right for years and you should immediately piss your pants and cry?
Also, yeah, I mean, as she misgenders her, also, how many times do you think Brett Cooper people have thought that person was he, him?
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.